So Liam, sorry for interrupting your meditative state there.
No
It's
problem.
great to have the opportunity to talk to you up here. We're up at the Hellfire Club on the Dublin Mountains, formerly known as the Montpelier Lodge. So tell us exactly what you're doing at this point and how this is all part of Leandale and what you actually believe spiritually and in the martial arts end.
Well, that's a couple of hours, but specifically to address the question, I would always have come to these areas. I would always have practiced in these areas, particularly that coming from Tala, that the Hellfire is so close. It's heritage, culture, your background. It's just a thin veneer of modern living which separates us from what is a very ancient Celtic mystical tradition. Words are tenets such as relaxing, focusing, staying connected, grounded, the ability to stay focused within the moment are very, very important in this modern lifestyle where everything is rushing, where we are flying past, we have no time for ourselves. So we have to give ourselves time to contemplate. We have to give ourselves time to take time out to go within. That's really where I would see it.
Okay.
From a martial perspective, it's very... From a life perspective, it's very important that we give ourselves this time.
Okay. But just further, sorry for 1 second interrupting you, but just further to the martial end of things, like just let people know where you're a master martial artist for over 30 years practicing the arts. Last year you won the World Championship and you won the European Championship. These were tasks that you just set out for yourself to show that you still had the ability and you still had the belief, and you put your belief and your abilities to the test, and resulted in that you became a world champion and a European champion. So is this all part of it, part of your meditative state? Is that part of it?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. We are holistic beings. We're physical, mental, emotional, social, and spiritual. We can't have one without the other. It's not possible. You can't be all physical. You can't be all thinking physically and not paying attention to mental, emotional, or social different aspects. It's like a strand. You know, and if one strand is missing, then the other are affected because it is. So what's really important is that in order to be complete, you need to give this time, and you must go to those people who know what they're talking about in order to do such a thing, and it isn't that hard to do. In fact, you mentioned the Hellfire earlier. You will find a lot of my students up here practicing, not always with me. They've taken their own decision on this now. They learn the techniques from myself and they come here to this beautiful area and they take part. Not always in the good weather either, because we only live down the road here. This big little village that we call Tala, which is now a city, is just down the road, and we are surrounded by this vibrant culture. We must remember that the ancients before us, the Celts in particular, they didn't really build as much grandiose stone. They used the natural environment. They used the trees a lot, and they made sacred places from these. So it really is rather easy for us to tap into these areas if we know how and we know what we're doing. For my martial arts, it was invaluable, and the techniques I pass on, the feedback I get, it's invaluable, you know.
Great, well, it's fascinating. I'm sure I'd love to do more of these interviews with you further down the road. It's been a great insight into Leandale, and to come up here and I can feel the tranquility and the energy and it's wonderful. So
10-minute walk.
Well, thank you very much for sharing that with me, Liam.